Captain George Forrest ran through the middle of a North Vietnamese ambush to get back to his men, and in doing so, saved most of Alpha Company from being wiped out during one of the deadliest days of the entire Vietnam War. That is not something you just forget once you hear it, and honestly, there is a whole lot more to this story than most people ever get to know, because for decades the actions of Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Cavalry, have been overshadowed by what happened to the other units that day, and George Forrest has carried that weight, along with the guilt of the 17 men he lost for most of his life. You have to go back to understand how a young man from a small, segregated town in Maryland ended up leading soldiers into one of the most chaotic battles American troops had faced since Korea, and how the lessons of that day shaped everything that came after for him and for the men who served under his command. This is the kind of story that does not get written up in the official histories the way it should be, and the people who lived through it often do not talk about it for years or even decades because the memories are just too raw. But George Forrest eventually did start talking, and what he shared helps us understand not just what happened in the Yadrang Valley, but what it meant to be a soldier and a leader in a war that would test everything America thought it knew about fighting. George Gaither Forrest grew up in Leonardtown, Maryland, in St. Mary's County during the 1940s and 1950s. And if you know anything about that part of the country back then, you know it was deeply segregated. The Jim Crow laws were in full effect, and black families lived in a different world than their white neighbors.